Hello everyone, this is Immune Gravity reading Everlasting Love, an Adventure Time fanfiction reading written by Just Conradical. It's Marceline and Finn shipfic. This should be fun. And let's get started. Chapter 1. The lull of cold wind accompanied the sounds of Heat Signature 3 that was being played from Marceline's old television. It was in autumn, and the crisp, chilled breeze was permeating through the land of Ooh, causing the leaves on the ground to give a crisp sound when stepped on, and encouraging the inhabitants of Ooh to wear a few extra layers of clothing. Marceline shuddered as the wind passed through her window and blew around her living room. Marcy looked over to Finn the human, who seemed not to even have noticed the wind. She looked up at Finn, noticing how much the boy, well, he's closer to a man now, had changed in the 3 years since the events of the Lich. Finn had grown quite a bit. Standing a few inches taller than Marceline, his shaggy blonde hair sometimes liked to poke itself in tufts from underneath his awesome hat. His face showed signs of stubble. He had matured quite a lot. He was turning into quite the handsome young man. Finn placed his arm around the vampire, asking, "Are you cold?" Marceline nodded. "Would you like me to get you a blanket?" Finn inquired with concern. "No, this is fine," Marceline said, moving closer. Looking up at the face of her friend had brought up some questions she had asked herself in the past few years. Finn had always been one of her closest friends. She was starting to look at him in a new light. She had known he had a crush on her for a while, ever since she had been rejected by Bubblegum and Marceline had to console him, making him realize that they would never work out, saying she was super smart princess and he was an adventurer who loved fun and danger, and that he would be bored in her about a week. Looking at him now confirmed her thoughts. They had been hanging out increasingly over the past few months, and she was letting herself fall for him. Studying his face rekindled the feeling, but also brought back knowledge that he was aging and she was not. Marceline couldn't let herself fall for him because he would just grow old and die like everyone else. These thoughts brought tears to Marceline's eyes. A few began to roll down her cheek. Finn noticed and was shocked. What's wrong, Marcy?" he asked with worry in his voice. "Do you not like the movie? It's pretty scary. We can change it if you like." "It's not the movie," Marceline said with a sigh. It's you." "Me? What did I do?" Finn asked with a worried tone. "Was I possessed by a demon ghost?" "Oh, it's actually me," Marceline said with a sad chuckle. The boy was always so desperate to help. "You always grow older while I stay the same, never changing. That's why I'm alone. I may have friends now, but like you and Jake, but he'll eventually die and I'll be left alone. That's how it always happens." A tear rolled down from her cheek with these last words. "Oh." It took Finn a few minutes to realize what exactly Marcy meant. He finally realized why she was so sad. Marceline had watched everyone she had ever grown attached to die in the last 1,000 years, right before her eyes, while she never changed. Finn looked at the poor queen, not knowing what to do. It was true he had developed strong feelings for the girl over the past years especially, but he had forgotten why he had ever wanted Bubblegum in the first place. Marceline was amazing, the best companion an adventurer could ask for. But that wasn't all, though. Finn had become obsessed with everything she did. He would hang out with her almost every night, and when she was asleep during the night, it was unbearable. He would do anything for her not to feel this way, but he had no idea how she felt about him. Finn thought for a moment before reaching to hold her hand. The queen looked up with curiosity and sadness in her eyes. "I love you." The "you" was shaky. "What?" Marceline said, more with astonishment than lack of comprehension. "I love you. Well, I think I do at least," Finn said. "What?" wasn't exactly the answer that he had been hoping for. Marceline looked up at him, astonished. She had known that Finn had feelings for her, but love? Well, she kind of knew that too, though she had convinced herself she was wrong. Marceline simply started crying even more than before. This wasn't the reaction Finn had been hoping for either. I'm sorry, Finn stuttered, afraid he had done something wrong. Maybe this hadn't been the best time to tell her. He was looking for a way to cheer her up. Finn was afraid he had ruined any chance with Marcy. Just then, she looked up with tears in her eyes and replied, "Finn, I think I feel the same way. I think I have for a while now, but you're just going to die, and that only makes me feel worse." She buried her face into her hands at the end of the sentence. The sobs overtook her once more. Finn was scared that she had made the situation worse, but he didn't know what to do, so he sat and thought for a few minutes while Marceline sobbed in self-pity. Finally he replied, "Do I have to?" These words shocked Marceline. Shocked the sadness right out of the Queen. "What?" she said again in astonishment. She looked into the boy's eyes, his face more somber and serious than it had ever been. The look that was cast across Finn's face was so sincere. She stopped crying and listened. "Turn me," he said. That chapter was just so adorable. I must read another." Chapter 2. There was a brief pause, accompanied by a look of pure astonishment in Marceline's eyes before the silence was broken by her bewildered voice. "Finn," the tears came back, "you can't do that. I know you think everything will be fine after, but it won't be." "Why not?" Finn asked. "As long as I'm with you, it will be." For such a naive kid, he always seemed to have a way with words. Marceline had reminded herself that she couldn't do that to the boy. The thought just seemed so nice. "No, I can't do it," Marceline said, not sure who she was trying to convince. "Why can't you?" Finn's voice seemed distraught. "You don't know what it's like, Finn. You might know me as just a radical dame that likes to play games, but no one else sees me that way. To a lot of people, vampires are monsters. If you were to be turned, it would be the end of your adventuring altogether. You can't adventure if you can't even go outside during the day." This information hit Finn like a ton of bricks. Now that he thought about it, even his best felt Jake was uneasy about vampires. Would he really ever be able to adventure again? He was all about adventuring, but he was all about Marceline too, though. After a few minutes of these types of thoughts, he turned to Marceline and replied, "I thought about it. I asked myself which of the two I couldn't live without, you or adventuring. I realized then that I could sit here forever and ever and not worry about adventuring. I decided that you're the most important thing to me, not adventuring. I don't care what it takes. I want to be here for you. I don't care how people feel about vampires once I'm turned. I'll still live up to the promise I made to help everyone in trouble, even if the only person I can help is you. If people will remember everything I've done for them, then maybe they'll let me help them out, even if I am a vampire. Or if I can't always be there during the day." Marceline thought about what Finn said for a while. By the time she was done, the credits of Heat Signature were rolling. Marceline turned to Finn and said to him, "Okay, Finn. I'll turn you." "Rhombus!" Finn yelled and jumped in the air with a mighty fist pump. "Okay, is it going to hurt? It doesn't matter, though." Finn exposed his neck, closing his eyes and waiting with a clenched fist. "Wait, Finn. I'm not going to do it yet." "What? Why not?" the boy said with confusion and disappointment. "You're too young," Marceline said with a laugh. "You're not even my bodily age yet. I was 14 months away from my 18th birthday when I was turned, and I've been 17 ever since. On the day of your 18th birthday, I'll turn you, so you can have a few good years of adventuring still. Plus, I don't think Jake would be too happy if you went home a vampire." "You're right, Marcy," Finn said, a little crestfallen. Finn was the only person ever to call Marceline anything besides her full name, but she had said she liked the nickname, though she only let Finn call her by it. "Okay, big guy, it's been a pretty long night. You better get home to Jake before he gets worried." Finn didn't want to leave, but if it were up to Finn, he'd never leave. Marceline walked Finn to the door before they gave him a kiss. She gave him a kiss goodbye. Marceline had kissed the boy before, but never like this. She slipped her tongue into his mouth. The two tongues met briefly and said their goodbyes. It was short and sweet, and definitely leaving a shocked Finn wishing for more as he walked home. Marceline still knew how to work men. She watched him exit the cave before walking inside up to her room and lying on the bed. Well, that was emotionally exhausting. That was the last thing she said before falling into a dreamless sleep. Jake heard Finn walk through the door. The stretchy yellow dog was sitting on the couch drinking some tea. He had not grown much as Finn in the past year, remarkably similar to his younger self. The dogs in Ooh lived only slightly shorter compared to humans, and Jake was in his late 20s. "Hey, brother, why are you so late? Having fun with the Queen, eh?" he said with a wink. Finn blushed. He had told Jake more than once how he felt about Marceline, but he still got a little embarrassed when he brought it up. "Nah, man, we just talked." Finn decided to tell Jake about the plan to be turned in the morning. "Sure, man," Jake said with sarcasm and another wink. "Get real with me, bro. You tapped that yet?" he said with a laugh. "Oh my. Why? Oh." These types of jokes have become more popular with Jake ever since Finn was 15 and going through puberty. "Man, no!" Finn's face got even redder. "Ha ha ha!" guffawed Jake. "I'm going to bed," Finn said as he stormed into their room. "Aw, jeez, Finn, don't be so grumpy," Jake commented as he followed him to bed. The next morning, the two companions sat around the table with their friend Bimo. Finn wasn't sure how to bring up the topic he and Marceline had discussed, so he tried to work his way into it. "So, Marceline and I were talking last night," Finn said as he tapped his fork on the table, "about how much you want to get in her pants." Jake and Bimo laughed. "I never said that," said Finn. "No, man, we're talking about the two of us." "Did you ask the dame out yet?" asked Jake. "Well, kinda." Finn was uneasy. Jake, how'd you feel if I was a vampire for the rest of eternity?" Jake's stretchy jaw dropped to the floor. Bimo short-circuited. "Well, I think that's a good stopping point. I really like this fic. And, after reading through it once or twice, I can assure you that it's rather interesting near the middle. Okay, well, see you guys next week.